Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. You are welcome here, whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes, you are welcome here. No matter what you have experienced in the past, no matter what awaits you in the future, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. Good morning. Welcome to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. My name is Amy Rushin. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a post-middle-aged woman with gray hair and a green shirt, and it is my privilege to serve as your worship associate this morning. Our worship leader is Reverend Lora. Let us take a moment now to fully arrive and welcome one another with joy. Let's start by saying a howdy to our online congregants. Right at the camera back there.
Yourselves around all points. And keep breathing. Please keep breathing.
Please be seated. Well, I'm going to make you stand up again for the chalice lighting, but you can sit for a moment. I am the Reverend Lora Young, I forgot to say that. My pronouns are she and her. I am a tall, red-haired, pale-skinned white woman who is in her early 50s, and I am wearing black and white today and my Justice Side with Love stole. And it is my pleasure to be with you this morning. I'd like to invite you to stand now to light our chalice. And we have Spencer coming forward to light it with us this morning. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, the energy of action and the flames of resistance for the purposes of liberation. You may be seated. Okay.
All right, it is time for all ages. So children of any age, come on up. I've got a fun story to share with you about imagination and making things and keeping going even when making things gets a little frustrating. All right, this book is called The Most Magnificent Thing. And it's about imagination. Can you guys tell me what imagination is good for?
I've read this story.
Della?
I've read this story. Sometimes imagination
Me?
is escaping from the real world for a little bit and being in your own little world.
To get out of the real world for a little bit, yeah, and be in your own world. Anybody else? Did you? Yeah.
They used imagination to write that book.
They did. They used imagination to write this book. Other ideas of what imagination's good for? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get started.
I have this book at home.
This is a regular little girl and her best friend in the whole world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things. He unmakes things. Do you guys have a pet who unmakes things?
Yes. I have a pet who makes every single toy,
Oh, yeah.
including ones that are supposedly unbreakable.
One day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. All she has to do is make it. And she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. First, she hires an assistant. Can you see who her assistant is?
Yeah, the dog.
Her dog. Next, they gather their supplies, they set up somewhere out of the way and get to work.
That is not out of the way.
That is not out of the way. They're right in the middle of the sidewalk downtown.
They should do it in their backyard.
The girl tinkers and hammers and measures while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she is finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around one side. Her assistant examines the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. They are shocked to discover that the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even kind of sort of okay. It's all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. When she is finished, she stands up and takes a long look at it. The thing is still wrong. She decides to try again. Come on, pages. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands and examines and stares. She twists and tweaks and fastens. She fixes and straightens and studies. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square, she makes it round, she gives it legs. She adds antennae. She makes it fuzzy. She makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese. But none of them are magnificent. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't even see the magnificent thing she has in her mind. She gets mad. Does that happen to you when you're frustrated? Yeah. The angrier she gets, the faster she works. She smashes pieces into shapes. She jams parts together. She pummels the little bits in. Her hands feel too big to work, and her brain is too full of all the not right things. If only the thing would just work. She's got a big black cloud over her head. Crunch. Ow. The pain starts in her finger. It runs up to her brain, and she explodes. It's not her finest moment. I'm no good at this. I quit.
I no good at this.
Her assistant suggests a walk. It's not much help at first. But before long, she starts to feel different. Bit by bit, the mad gets pushed out of her head. As they stroll along, she comes across the first wrong thing she made. The bad feelings are about to start all over again. Then she notices something surprising. There are some parts of the wrong things that are really quite right. The bolts on one, the shape of another, the wheel to seat ratio of the next. There are all sorts of parts that she likes. By the time she reaches the end of the trail, she finally knows how to make the thing magnificent. She gets to work. She works carefully and slowly, tinkering, hammering, twisting, fiddling, gluing, painting. Her assistant makes sure there are no distractions. There's the distraction. A little squirrel. And the people walking down the sidewalk say, this is the perfect thing to ward off bears. This will stop the leak. This one's all wet. The afternoon fades into evening. Finally, she finishes. She alerts her assistant, who's asleep on the job. The pair take a good long look. It leans a little to the left, and it's a bit heavier than expected. The color could use a bit of work, but it's just what she wanted. They climb aboard and take it for a spin. They are not disappointed. It really is the most magnificent thing. And can you see it's a little sidecar for her assistant? All right, well that shows, I think, trying over and over again.
Yeah.
Keeping going when times get tough. And what do you do when you get really frustrated?
I like to take a break.
Take a break, absolutely.
Or take a walk if you have a dog.
And take a walk when you have a dog. All right, and now it's time to sing you guys out. Bring your cushions back. Thank you for joining us.
Truly, this community fits that metaphor of the most magnificent thing. We go along, we try things. Sometimes it's a little wonky, but really, truly, we are magnificent in our imperfection. And part of what helps us be perfectly imperfect, of course, is the gifts you make of your time, your talent, and your treasure. And you just heard earlier from Brenda and from Tom, and now it is my privilege to invite you to join our Sunday offering. And our Sunday offering is, you're giving me a note. I cannot read it from here. There's no way, my eyes do not work that way. Is it still the right offering partner? Just keep going, that's okay. We'll work on our sign language. So anyway, we split our plate each week with an organization that aligns with our values. We've been doing this for over a dozen years, and we have given away thousands and thousands of dollars. And back in the beginning, when we first started doing this, when the community started doing this, there was a lot of nervousness that somehow we would lose out on that revenue, but that has been the exact opposite. In fact, revenue has gone up consistently as a result of us living into that generosity. So I invite you to join join me in saying our offering words and receive the offering, which is going to benefit the Hope Clinic. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. We will now accept the offering. For those in our online community, you're invited to use the giving link in the chat box. And you can also do that here in the sanctuary, but we also have baskets for those who prefer the sort of old-fashioned way. I invite the ushers to come forward at this time. Yes, you can put your nudge cards in the basket. That's what that was. Thank you. Of how the wind crackled in the building right at the end of that, sort of responding. Thank you, Randall. Thank you. For all we have found the courage to give, may we be truly grateful. May your gifts today be a blessing on South Valley and on the work of Hope Clinic. I invite you now into a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer. This morning's meditation is a visual meditation. So as I read the words, you are invited to view the slides on our screen. If you prefer to just keep your eyes gently closed, you can do that as well, because perhaps you see images and colors when you close your eyes that are sufficient for that. This meditation was written by Nanao Sakaki, and it's titled A Love Letter. And they write, within a circle of 1 meter, you sit, pray, and sing. Within a shelter 10 meters large, you sleep well, and rain sounds a lullaby. Within a field 100 meters large, raise goats and rice. Within a valley 1,000 meters large, gather firewood, water, wild vegetables, and amantius. within a forest 10 kilometers wide. Play with raccoons, hawks, poison snakes, and butterflies. Mountainous country, Shinano, 100 kilometers large, where someone lives leisurely, they say. Within a circle 10,000 kilometers large, go to see the southern coral reef in summer or winter drifting ices in the Sea of Okhotsk. Within a circle 10,000 kilometers large, walking somewhere on the earth. Within a circle 100,000 kilometers large, swimming in the sea of shooting stars. Within a circle 1,000,000 kilometers large, upon the spaced out yellow mustard blossoms, the moon in the east, the sun in the west. Within a circle 10 billion kilometers large, pop far out of the solar system mandala. Within a circle 10,000 light years large, the galaxy full blooming in spring. Within a circle 1 billion light years large, Andromeda is melting away into snowing cherry flowers. Now within a circle 10 billion light years large, all thoughts of time, space are burnt away. There again you sit, pray, and sing. Let us sit, pray, and sing.
What a lovely way to put things into perspective. I'm currently taking a class on Unitarian Universalist history. It's a fascinating, messy, twisting, interwoven journey that is decidedly non-linear. The founding strands of our religious traditions wove an intricate tapestry that required imagination and that factored in different personalities and changing times. We Unitarians and Universalists have been trying for a couple of centuries to articulate our faith without crossing the line into being creedal. Although they had been around since 1985, I first encountered the 7 or 8 principles just a few years ago. These principles spoke to me better than the tenets of any other religion. Just as I was enthusiastically embracing them, Unitarian Universalism adopted its new values with love at the center. I was honestly disappointed. I was upset that the description that really resonated for me was being updated. Was I clinging? Perhaps. But as I learned about the extensive and deliberately inclusive process of imagining new values, I realized I had not been aware of the limitations of the principles. I needed others to help me see my blind spots. I now value the community engagement and effort required to imagine something better, and then, like the regular little girl, make it happen. That is a frequent refrain throughout the history of Unitarian Universalism. I was just reading the principles from 1887 Yes, that's 139 years ago, and some of them rang true still today. Phrases like, "We trust the unfolding universe as beautiful," and "We believe that heaven and hell are states of being." And some of the statements have definitely morphed over time, like references to God and eternal life. In many ways, the UU's historic process of refinement and change is like the book, The Most Magnificent Thing. That regular girl kept working on her idea, tweaking it to her satisfaction. If there were a sequel to the book, I imagine she would be reconfiguring her most magnificent thing to accommodate her growing body and her aging canine assistant. I think it's human nature to continually use our imaginations, to search, to be curious, to adapt. We continually try, and that is an important quality of being self-reflective, of always wanting to improve. We do it at every level, from the personal to the congregational to the institutional. And I can totally relate. My chaplaincy training requires these same processes. I can use my imagination and critical thinking skills in an ongoing effort to assess where I can improve, both personally and professionally. And like the girl who in the process found things she could use from her previous attempts, we can still find value in concepts from the past, whether it's our UU history or our past selves. They are part of our rich tapestry. What we create will never be perfect. Perhaps it leans a bit to the side, or the color is not quite right. But it works, at least for now, and we will keep revisiting it to make it better.
It's not here. That's awesome. Okay. Brenda to the rescue. Well, this is like my worst nightmare, is like coming up before you and not having a sermon written, but it is actually written, and here it is. Oh, Lord. Or not Lord in this case. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I was asked to speak on behalf of the Progressive Clergy Coalition here in Salt Lake City regarding the proposed ICE detention facility on behalf or in conjunction with Moms Demand Action regarding specifically family separation and child detention. In opposition to that, let's be clear. At the end of the interview, I was asked, what gives me hope right now? With all of the sort of terribleness that's swirling through our news sources and around the world, what gives me hope right now? And I didn't even really have to think about it. My answer was immediate. My friends and my colleagues joining me in this justice work and this congregation. Your time, talent, and treasure is what allows me to be out in the community, representing our values and speaking our truths in the community. And justice work is difficult. Any of us who have ever engaged in justice and service work know that it's difficult, because within it, it carries a deep seed of sadness that it's even required at all. Justice work requires partnership, collaboration, constant change and adaptation, mutual care, and most of all, trust. All of these things take time to cultivate. And justice work requires playing the longer game. For success sometimes happens along the way, but it's generally a little unpredictable, and at times it can seem rather temporary because usually the resistance against it is quick to respond to any justice work that we are successful at. To sustain justice work, effective justice work requires a dedicated and focused practice of hope. The real kind of hope, the kind with deep roots that can hold communities together for millennia as they seek liberation. And it's never accidental, and it's always communal. You cannot manifest hope by yourself, isolated on a meditation cushion. It is something you have to practice, build, share, and pass on to other people and to the coming generations in community with one another. It is the rich soil, so to speak, into which all justice movements are planted, the ground of hope. And you are a necessary and vital and desired participant in this community's effort to build and sustain the kind of hope we need right now to face the challenges of our current context. So your presence and participation this morning goes far beyond your reasons for hopping out of bed and coming into this room. We need you. I need you as much as you need me. For over 40 years now, South Valley has been saving lives and souls. I know that may seem strange in a post-Christian context, but we really do save lives and souls through our life-affirming, open-hearted, grace-giving, and justice-creating community. Back in 2017, when marriage equality became the law of the land, there were quite a few commentators on the national stage who remarked what a miracle it was to see this happening in the world. But for all of the people who had been working for decades, centuries even, to bring about liberation, it was a different kind of truth that day. A knowing that there was no miracle involved, that it was instead the result of persistent, focused, dedicated efforts by many people over many decades, grounded in hope, the real hope that liberation from injustice can and will be brought about through our efforts. This community was the first community to call a transgender minister within our denomination, and perhaps one of the first transgender ministers to be called to a settled position in the United States, the Reverend Sean Dennison. And every settled minister since then has been queer. That is really something here in Utah, a place where it is not uncommon for people to remark to me that it is wonderful to see a woman in the pulpit. I guess we're a bit like female pilots, exceedingly rare in this wild west of Utah. This congregation lives its values and follows through every single time. Not perfectly, but with a strong heart for justice. And we are vibrant and we are alive. And right now, we are larger than we've ever been in our 40-plus year history. We are growing as a congregation, and that is wonderful and joyful, and it's a beautiful outcome of our dedication to hope building, but growth in and of itself is not an end goal, right? It is something to be managed and directed in order to ensure that the shifting landscape that is congregational life does not result in depletion, overgrowth, or collapse. So in that vein, I'd like to suggest the metaphor of a garden as we approach the season of growth as a congregation. Congregations can be a bit like a garden in the sense that while we have plans and programs, there remains a little bit of wildness underneath it all, because seeds are always blowing in the door, right? And rooting down next to our established rows of plants. And all that wildness and all that reseeding and all of that tending reminds us that as a church community, we're not going somewhere, right? And we're not achieving things. Yes, we have programs and plans. We might set goals and have some objectives and outcomes, but those are never more important than the friendships, the connection, the spiritual deepening, and the flowering of joy that is possible when people come together to do life with one another. Having a plan, though, is helpful to manage the wildness that comes with growth so that we don't get lost in the chaos. Now, there are thousands of books and Instagram posts about how to grow amazing fruits and vegetables. And I think there are twice as many books and consultants on how to cultivate and support church growth. But neither one is going to guide us to a perfect harvest or a vibrant community all by itself. It can help. It can set some guideposts. It can outline sort of the edges of this bed and that bed in our garden, but it cannot replace the deep knowledge that we carry within us of the whole. For that, we have to rely on trusting each other and offering grace as we go along, doing our planting and our weeding, our pruning and our shifting, so that we can make space for each and all to thrive in this beautiful landscape. There is no one size fits all within this community or within any community. Some of you like the shade. Others of you like the full sun. Some of you like that rocky soil. Some of you want to be in a pot. We will make space for all of that. So far, the pieces of growth that have been a challenge in this community have been primarily around organizational capacity issues, from small challenges like needing to have enough boxes to hold all the new name tags, to the larger issues of how we best communicate and connect, avoid bottlenecks of decision-making, and empower leadership to be bold and creative while also maintaining good practices for governance and oversight of our small but mighty nonprofit. And we have been meeting these challenges with energy and curiosity. As you know and can see when you walk up, we have made major investments in our outdoor spaces. And we have made major upgrades to the safety and security of our building that has allowed us to have greater accessibility and more sense of pride, I think, that we are a modern, vibrant community that takes care of ourselves. Our board of trustees has been experimenting with a consensus model, and it's really been working for us as a board to take that extra time to really build consensus and to sometimes delay making a decision so that everyone can come on board and everyone can get behind any decisions that we make. And if we can't make a decision, we take more time. Luckily, it doesn't take that much time because we usually are able to make good decisions together. And we have a team currently working on mapping our engagement processes and communications channels to make sure that everyone, from the longest term member to the person just walking in this morning, knows how to get connected and stay connected in a way that suits them best. We have a really strong foundation right now. And so it is with confidence that I'm going to offer you 3 observations and invitations to be in dialogue with myself and with leadership about how we might best manage growth going forward. And each is related to growth and attendance on Sundays, online as well as in person. As you may have noticed, our children's program has robustly grown in the last 2 years, and it has resulted in us being a little squeezed in the sanctuary from time to time. And sometimes we have run out of chairs, sometimes we've run out of hymnals, and sometimes it's been difficult for the adults to hear everything due to the exuberance of the children in the back. And our tech deck has been challenged as well to sort of maintain their attention and focus on the tech in supporting our online community. So this fall, we're going to try something new. It is an experiment. Your participation and your feedback will be vital in this process. So starting in September, after water communion, we're going to have our children and youth start with us in worship only 2 Sundays a month. And the other 2 Sundays, they will go directly downstairs to start in children's chapel and then go on to their classes. Our hope is that by having the children start downstairs with their classes, they will have more time for faith development, group learning projects, and even maybe some field trips. And that the adults will have more time upstairs for ritual and lay leader reflections on Sundays. Do not worry, we're not going to get rid of birthday blessing. That will stay the same. And our communion services and our intergen services will still very much be able to happen and continue to be vibrant. Second, also on the worship front, for those of you who attend here in person most Sundays and who live locally, you may not have realized yet just how many people are traveling long distances or attending online with us each week. Brenda, how many people do we have in our online community today? 22. So a year and a half ago, we were averaging 10, 12, 13 people. And routinely, we are between 20 to 30, sometimes even 40 people online on Sundays. And you can't see that, of course, when you're here because you just see the camera. This is kind of like its own mini congregation. For many of the people who are attending online are not just you when you don't feel like coming into worship, but they are people who continuously and at times exclusively join us in an online community. So there's an opportunity for us to make better and smarter investments in creating connectivity and in creating more joy for our online community. We are also increasingly serving people who live in Utah County and beyond. Our current database, which is called Breeze, and if you don't have your profile activated, you should see Brenda J at the end of service. Just plugging that. Our current database of members and friends has over 130 adults and children who live in Utah County or beyond. Some of these people travel 40, 60, even 100 miles to be with us in this community. So we've been exploring those needs through a grant funded through the UUA this past year. And in the fall, we're going to begin offering some programming. We'll be having a Soul Matters small group and quarterly family events down in Utah County. And there's a lot more of opportunity for us to do that. And while it's not really like a church plant, because that's like a crazy idea and we would not want to do that, like it's kind of exciting, right? We have like 130 people, like that's its own congregation too. So we have us, we have our online community, we have our South by South people. I mean, it's kind of amazing. So we're working right now to think about how do we sustain and how do we move through this. And here's what we propose going forward. This next year, we're going to be really focusing on investment in religious exploration, primarily volunteer-based. 2 years ago, we added a religious exploration assistant, and that's allowed us to better manage our volunteers and have a smooth-running program on Sunday. As I mentioned, we're going to change how we do upstairs and downstairs coming in the fall. And we're going to be making investments in our youth group. As Brenda and Tom mentioned, we'll be inviting the youth to go to General Assembly in June of 2027. We also have some opportunities to start exploring some service trips to the Hopi and Navajo reservations. So that will be something that will be coming along as well. We're not exactly sure what sort of investment staff-wise this will require, so we ask for your robust volunteerism and thoughtful insight as we kind of go along and build that program. Also, as was mentioned earlier, we're investing continuously in our Sunday worship technology and AV support. We would like to be able to make the shift from perma-loan from Palmer and his generosity to owning our own equipment. We'd like to be able to add some additional cameras, and some of the equipment that has been proposed this year will allow us not only to do that, but also to increase the quality of the online audio experience, especially around music. And then there are investments in communication and engagement. As we were talking about earlier, wouldn't it be lovely if we actually did an experiment and found out what happens if we actually market this place rather than just let people find us organically, which has been great, but it's not a great strategy. So we'd like to, experiment with a social media consultant and have some fun and see sort of what happens with that, hence the nudge that was asked for earlier. There's a lot of opportunity right now, and that's kind of magnificent, right? Given what's going on in the world, given the drag of and the terror that is constantly churning in social media and our zeitgeist, very real harms that are happening, but instead, or alongside, I should say, not instead, and alongside that, to see that what this community is choosing is life, that we are choosing connection, that we are choosing community, that we are choosing to when we see the tomorrow that's offered online and in our news sources, to say, nope, that's not the tomorrow that we're going to participate in. We're going to root down here. We're going to build hope. We're going to support youth and one another, and we're going to build a beloved community. That is, if there's a miracle in the midst of all that's happening, that is the miracle. The return to what really matters, the flowering of human community. And we're in a good position to do that. We're financially stronger than we've ever been, and we are thriving. There is so much joy around here, so much opportunity to connect, and I'm really looking forward to walking this next year with you. So here's my little pledge moment as your minister. As your minister, I ask you to consider carefully and thoughtfully what makes sense for you and your family this year in your pledge and in your giving. We are not a community that will ever demand that you pay to play. And we are not a place that holds your dignity or worth or your salvation as something we can give you in return for your funding of us. That is a morally corrupt endeavor and is no part of this community. What we ask instead is for you to be a part of us, to give of your time, your talent, and your treasure so that we can have electricity for the good of the whole. And how you do that is up to you. This is a place of healing. This is a place of renewal. And this is a place where we practice the skills of hope in a world that continues to be death-dealing and crucifying. Our reputation as a good place for seekers, our reputation as a beacon of hope for those who feel left out or left behind by their childhood faith, our reputation as a place that we practice hope, these are evident throughout our community. They are sounding a call throughout this valley and beyond, that all folks of goodwill are welcome here, and that by being here, we can, we do, and we are making a difference in each other's lives and in that of the community beyond our walls. Thank you for choosing connection. Thank you for choosing this community and for choosing hope. It is making the difference. And I cannot wait to see what wildness blooms and grows in our magnificent garden of community. Thank you. He will. He will.
Okay, it's closing hymn time. Please rise as you are willing and able. This is 1024, when the Spirit says do. So we will sing through this 4 times. First time, we'll sing, you gotta do when the Spirit says do. The second time will be, what do we decide?
Shout and laugh and shout.
Oh, laugh and shout, that's right, okay. You gotta laugh when the Spirit says laugh, and then you gotta shout when the Spirit says shout. And then finally, do again.
Yeah. And so before we get started, let's shake a little bit. Because this is a good hymn. That was kind of a heavy little sermon there about community.
Stretch it
but
out.
We're a little bit joyful here with this song.
Do a couple squats or jumping jacks real quick if you need to. And do note at the very end of this hymn, there's this little thing we call a fermata. It's a little half circle with a dot over that last do. And then Spirit says do, and that's really the last do. So we'll hit that note there where it says last time. We'll hit that and then cut off, and then Spirit says do. That's how it goes, okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. So anyway, Rick will give us a little intro, and then we'll sing.
Standing for the extinguishing of our chalice and the benediction. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. The flames of resistance burn within, and we hold each other in our hearts until we meet again. Beloveds, truly, you are magnificent. You are the ones that you have been waiting for, that we have been waiting for. Let us join in beloved community and be glad for the day that we are given. Be a blessing upon the world. May you walk in kindness and humility and joy until we come together again. Please be seated for the postlude.